Hey everybody, it's Mike from AMZ Advisors, and today I have Ori Greenberg with me to talk more about his company AlgoPix and what he sees as the future of e-commerce. Ori, how are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having me.
Great. Well, I would love if you could tell a little bit more about yourself and your background so they can understand what your experience is in e-commerce.
So I'm Ori. I'm the CEO of AlgoPix. AlgoPix is my third company. I'm in the e-commerce space for the past 12 years. Before AlgoPix, I used to manage a large e-commerce agency that helped brands expand internationally online. So we kind of helped small and huge sellers decide which items to buy or which items to manufacture, in which countries to sell them, and in each country which channel. And throughout the years and our work with hundreds of merchants, we realized that one of their biggest challenges is that moment where we need to decide which items to buy and where to sell them. And there are simply no means of doing the research at scale and professionally. And if you're a large company or a brand owner and you like to really understand what's happening in the market, you have to hire someone like Nielsen or McKinsey to do it. So about 4 years ago, we decided to start AlgoPix, which, as far as I know, is the only cross-channel market analysis out there in the market. So if you, for example, receive a price list from a supplier that has 3,000 items in it, AlgoPix is about helping you upload that price list and find the products that are in high demand and can generate the margins you're interested in, whether it is 20% or 50%, and make sure you only source these items and at sufficient quantities that match the demand in each channel that you're selling your products at. So that's kind of a quick background.
Yeah, for sure. And we had a chance to go through the tool a little bit, and you showed me a little bit about how it works. Maybe you can just speak quickly about some of the free offerings you have that other sellers can take advantage of, and the tools that you have on your website.
Sure, happy to, and thanks for selling. So basically, AlgoPix is a community product. We try to offer the best tools we can to the community because we're interested in sellers being very successful. And that's our main focus and main interest. So we have a lot of free tools on the site. So product analysis, for example, is free. If you receive that price list that we mentioned, you can simply sign up for a free account and upload that and analyze it and see the demand for these products across channels. So for example, Amazon in various countries, or Walmart or eBay, and product performance on Google, and what's it going to cost to set up a campaign. So that's free offering. Another thing that we have for free on the website is a tool that allows you to analyze your inventory that you have today and tell you what's the demand for your existing items across other channels. So for example, if you're an Amazon seller, you can simply connect your account. We'll download the inventory list and show you a very detailed report of what's the demand level for the products you currently have in other channels. So it's very actionable. So even if you have 200 different SKUs, we can tell you these 10 SKUs will generate $100,000 a month on Walmart.com. So it's very actionable. You can find a lot of these tools on the website. It's mainly for free.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I was really impressed with it. I think it could be very valuable to a lot of sellers out there looking to get into different channels, which we can talk a little bit about more later. With it, all your access to all this data, all the insights that you're gaining from it, what do you see as the biggest trends in e-commerce and what's happening right now?
Yeah, so I guess we're all seeing that e-commerce has probably matured in the last 5 months, in probably 5 years. It's grew dramatically. We see in June over 70% growth versus June last year. And I think everyone understands that e-commerce is the hottest opportunity, and a lot of companies that historically didn't go into e-commerce are now doing it, trying to take more market share. One of the most interesting things that we see is that while Amazon is still dominant in the space and will probably be for years, there are a lot of new players in the game that are serious companies that invest tons of efforts to make e-commerce experience better on their platforms. So I'm talking about companies like Google Shopping with their latest free listing offering. So basically every seller can list items for free on Google Shopping, and the search results, the organic search results will kind of be a mix of organic and paid, like the original Google search engine. I think it's a huge opportunity, and we see a lot of shoppers going there. I truly and strongly believe in Facebook's marketplace. I think it's a huge opportunity. It's hard to compete with a marketplace that on day one has 1 billion sellers and customers. So what I really believe it's a huge opportunity for sellers to expand as a new channel. And I personally buy half of my stuff on Facebook's marketplace simply because I like to get my things fast. And while Amazon offers 2-day shipping, I can just Uber things I buy on Facebook Marketplace my way and get them in 20 minutes. So to me, it's a huge, huge advantage. So to kind of summarize, in general, I think that sellers should meet their customers where the customer is. And if you already have inventory in place, you better list it in various channels and make sure it sells in each and every channel. It's an easy thing to say, it's not an easy thing to do. And maybe we'll talk more about that later on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it makes sense if you can get things from other marketplaces faster at a lower cost. And at the end of the day, it's about the end customer and it's going to benefit them the most. But for a seller, what types of things or metrics should they be paying attention to determine what channels to go on to, or how e-commerce is growing faster for their product category or things like that?
Yeah, so I come from research and I'm a data person. So to me, everything you do, you need to look into the data. So for example, the basic is to monitor sales and trends and to know your best-selling products and to know your competitors' products and how they are performing and what activities they perform to kind of push and take more market share. To me, it's very important, especially these days, to track seasonal changes and consumer-driven sales trends. Know, for example, that back to school is happening in advance. Be prepared for it. Make sure you perform thorough market analysis and know which products to buy, and kind of what quantities you need and what types of campaigns you should set up. You should be prepared to meet demand and have secure inventory position for your best sellers. That are the kind of important things to keep track of.
Okay, awesome. And obviously right now, Amazon has the dominant position within the e-commerce space. It's the largest platform out there. What platforms do you think we should be paying attention to or could potentially challenge Amazon's dominant position within e-commerce?
Yeah, so it's very specific for the type of products that you sell. But high-level general answer would be Amazon in various countries. If you need to prioritize kind of whether you sell on Amazon UK or you list your products on Walmart, you need to kind of see if there's demand in these channels to realize which ones you should do first. Obviously, selling in other countries is a little bit more complicated, but once you do it in one country, in one channel, it's very easy to expand, especially if you kind of have solutions these days like FBA, and you can store your products in other people's warehouses, and you can use these warehouses to then sell across various channels in that country or even region, if that's Europe. So kind of first thing would be to analyze the demand and to realize where is the demand for these products that you offer or wish to offer. It's very important to also do the margin analysis to realize what's going to be your shipping costs, what's going to be your tax or VAT if you sell in Europe. Marketing cost is very important and very channel specific. So my best, expansion, the best expansion opportunities that I've seen recently are selling on Amazon in Europe or selling in Walmart, listing your products on Google. These are the kind of most important different channels that there are these days.
Okay. So we primarily focus on the Amazon platform, and that's where we help our clients on. We do some work on other channels, but it's mainly Amazon. It's interesting because we work with large and small brands. And on the large brand side, what we get a lot of concern from is disruptor brands that are coming into the Amazon platform and challenging them and taking their market share. But at the same time, we're also working with these disruptor brands and helping them grow their sales as well. So what maybe you can summarize what the issues are that disruptor brands cause for the established brands and the household name brands on Amazon.
Great question. So basically, we see a lot of white label products doing very well on Amazon and taking market share from the big brands. It takes a lot of work to create a brand, right? And to be successful doing it. The people I see that are most successful at it are great executors and will do whatever they do really well. It's very hard to kind of maintain the right stock, do the marketing, and you kind of need to be a marketing wizard to succeed in that. You need to be working in a very cost-effective way to compete with the large brands, which sometimes spend a lot of money, and that's one of their disadvantages. And you kind of need to be on it. I haven't seen anyone do that successfully and being a disruptive brand without just doing it full time and this being their main concern and having the sufficient attention to do that. For the large brands, it is a disruption. A lot of us are now buying the products with the highest rank and the best reviews, not necessarily the brand name. And so does most of the searches on Amazon these days are for product types, not specific brands. So I think it's a big opportunity these days.
For sure. And then how are those larger brands protecting themselves against the disruptor brands, or how are they playing defensively?
So I see this as a great opportunity for the entrepreneurs themselves, because the large brands are open to acquiring these smaller brands. Put aside the marketing activities that they set, and I find it hard to compete with someone who's the brand owner and very enthusiastic about it and is doing all the marketing work versus someone who's working at an enterprise, a corporate, and they're doing their 8 to 5 and working from home these days. And so I think you have the ability to compete with the large brands and take their market share. And the end game is also very interesting, because if these large brands are willing to acquire the smaller brands, then this, you all of a sudden, entrepreneurs who want to be very successful, they don't need to move to the Silicon Valley and set up a tech company. You can have a nice exit just by setting up a brand, promoting it for a few years, and then selling it to a larger enterprise. So what we're seeing in recent years is super interesting, and it's a big change than what we've seen 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, do you know more about the number of acquisitions happening in the marketplace, or how common that is happening right now?
I have seen dozens of acquisitions of smaller brands. Price obviously varies from hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars. And it really depends on the market share you were able to take from that big brand.
Okay, perfect. I think it's also important to cover here, what type of strategy or game plan do you recommend to sellers and brands that want to expand to new channels, and how can they do that in the most cost-effective, but at the same time, fastest way?
Yeah, great question. So basically, I believe in setting up plans and executing them religiously. Say one channel a quarter, for example, could be a good plan, and make sure that the channel has an owner, whether it is, even if it's a 5 people kind of company, make sure someone owns that channel. So from onboarding and making sure you're not making beginner mistakes, stuff you can regret later on. The listing process itself, you need to learn it and you need to decide how you want to go about it. Make sure you use the right tool. Right tools, make sure you don't oversell. They keep, the inventory management across various channels. Make sure pricing is right. I recommend using Repricer. Even if you're only selling one SKU, it's very important to know how you stand versus competition and kind of be on top of price, because it's a super important factor for listing in every channel. Marketing and promoting of products is crucial. You don't just list a product in a new channel and expect it to sell. So someone needs to become a marketing specialist in that channel. There are SEO related, search engine optimization related issues. There are paid campaigns you can set up. There's a launch plan you need to do. So going back to the initial response, make sure you prioritize the channels. Tell yourself as a business owner, where do I want to be 2 years from now, and kind of set up a plan to get there. Very detailed plan, and be just carry it out.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point there, that even companies that are not as large right now or don't have as many resources to dedicate to it should still be focusing on getting onto new channels and increasing their visibility. But if a company is smaller, let's say doesn't have the resources to dedicate a whole team to one channel or something, how do you think that they should be prioritizing their channels to determine which ones they want to launch on first?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of tools in the market to help you do that. AlgoPix is one of them. AlgoPix is offering, demand analysis on Amazon, Walmart, and eBay. The important things to notice is obviously demand for your products and what is the channel that shows demand for your products. But then you need to realize the market price, to analyze the margin, to expect your marketing costs, and that you'll probably lose money early on, and kind of you do a long-term plan to make money. Promoting products is challenging, especially in the first days. So it's really about research and kind of do less things on an intuition basis and do things more on databases. That's my advice.
Yeah, guessing game doesn't always work well for sellers. So yeah, having the data to back it up really makes the most sense. When, from your experience on the agency side and helping companies expand and brands and sellers expand to other sales channels, what have you seen are some of the biggest challenges that they face when doing those expansions?
Yeah, so there are a lot of things to kind of notice when you expand to new channels. And one of the things, for example, that is not being discussed a lot is logistics. Logistics is a big part of the business. And sometimes logistics is not just logistics, it's also marketing. I'll give an example. If you're selling on Amazon and you're not doing FBA, you don't support Prime customers, and that's might be the reason to succeed or to fail. So plan your logistics for each and every channel. Walmart has a dedicated logistics kind of method that's preferred and is being promoted. Every channel has its own kind of quirks and stuff you need to know. Then there's the listing process, which can be time consuming, and it's very critical for product success in a marketplace. So find the right tool to help you list your products, or do it manually, but kind of learn what works on each and every channel. Then you'll need to monitor sales and trends on each and every channel, know your competition, etc. Optimizing your product listings, pay attention to the details, super critical for success, whether it is the right keywords or the right structure, or maybe the best performing products have 4 photos and you have 9, which is too much. Make sure you have a video if that works for other products, things of that kind. Experiment with product bundling. In some platforms it works, in others it might not. So just trying new things is important. Setting up paid campaigns is super relevant in new platforms. And be creative. I can give you an example of being creative. So take back to school ad campaign that you can and should probably set up these days. Did you know that you can set up a landing page on Amazon? For example, you can consider creating a temporary brand page that would be associated with a unique messaging and would be appealing for back-to-school shoppers. It would kind of be showcasing group of related products with additional information like videos or hero images or whatnot. And these type of creative activities are what probably makes these new brands successful.
Okay. So we focused a lot on channel expansion right now. Another alternative that a lot of sellers have is product line expansion. So do you think that one is more important than the other, or that brands and sellers should be expanding their product line offering as fast as they're expanding to other channels?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It's a tough call. I think these are two parallel ways to grow your business. If you have the equity and you can afford, expanding the line of products, then that's good. You should do it, but you should, regardless of doing that, you should be expanding your reach by listing products in new channels. That doesn't require significant investment for stock. You do need money to promote your products and set up paid campaigns. But then it's a lot cheaper than promoting a new product, sourcing it, doing the research, etc. I would do both. It really depends on the funding side of things.
Yeah, really the capital comes down to the decision on what you can do and where your options are. But maybe from your days in the agency side, or even now, have you seen issues where companies try to expand their product lines too quickly and it ends up causing problems for your business?
Yes, I have. So it's the statistics that we see at AlgoPix serving 70,000 merchants shows that over 20% of inventory remains as overstock. Now, we work in a thin margin kind of business, and 20% overstock is just killing your margins and doesn't allow the business to grow. So make sure you source products that you know will sell well. Again, be very careful about using intuition. Use quantitative tools to kind of make these decisions. That's the biggest risk, overstock. To me, when you're buying products, they shouldn't last, when you buy stock, it shouldn't last more than 6 months. You kind of need to set up a plan where if something is being held for over 6 months, reduce the price, do whatever you need to get rid of it, use the funds to kind of source a different product that would sell well. If you're holding inventory for 18 months now, you're not using your equity wisely. I know you already made kind of a bad decision, but letting go of the past and realizing and acknowledging that you need to move on with your sourcing, that's kind of the advice I would have.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Having your cash tied up in inventory that's not moving and it's going to be obsolete, or it might even go bad depending on what product category it's in, obviously just doesn't make sense, when it's better to just get the product out, you push it through advertising, just get the cash back in the door, whatever you can recoup, and then invest it into a new product.
Yeah, imagine you have $100,000 to buy inventory. If you buy products that sell in 6 months, versus if you use the same equity to buy products that sell in 2 years, then basically you can use that equity 4 times versus 1 time and make 4 times the margins. That's kind of the way to look at it in my mind.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. I haven't thought of that before, but yeah, the more inventory turns you have, the better use you're getting out of your equity and the higher the return. So one last question for you here. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more, and our audience a little bit more, about how AlgoPix is helping brands and sellers manage their new business expansion, whether it's product line expansion or channel expansion.
Yeah, so AlgoPix is helping across all the stages of the process. We start with the product research and realizing which products to source. Then we do the margin analysis, kind of recommend the right channels, do the demand analysis to help you decide what quantity, how many units you should buy. We talked about ordering stock for 6 months, so realizing what that number is not that easy, and AlgoPix is helping. Then when you have the inventory, we kind of do an ongoing channel analysis to realize where you should be expanding and listing your products in as many channels as possible, where your customers are. Then we support the restock process, the pricing process, because you can do price analysis with AlgoPix. And once you're successful and your brand kind of takes off, and that's relevant for both small and larger brands, because AlgoPix also serves companies like Nestle and Procter & Gamble, kind of realizing your market share, realizing who's eating your lunch. And for example, if you used to own 18% of a specific market, a specific category, and we can tell you in real time that this month you're losing 2% of your market share to a direct competitor who just launched a promotion and is kind of taking your market share. So really across the stages of the selling cycle.
Okay, awesome. And I think everything we talked about has been super helpful. It's really interesting to hear your opinion and your thoughts on a lot of these questions about expansion and building your brand and what the future is going to look like for a lot of these e-commerce companies. If anyone in our audience or a seller or brand wants to learn more about AlgoPix, where can they go check you out?
So the best place would be algopix.com. And don't hesitate to reach out to our team if you need help setting up your business. We're here to help along the way. We have a community of sellers that's helping each other. We also have an interesting initiative where sellers can offer their inventory to other sellers. Having a community of thousands of sellers really allows you to do both B2B and B2C. And using AlgoPix to kind of analyze these opportunities is another thing you can do on our website. So reach out. That's kind of the best way to go.
Great. That's awesome. All right. Thanks, Ori, for telling our audience a little bit more about the other features that AlgoPix has. It's been really great having you here and learning more from you and your experience. We really appreciate it. And I'd be glad to hopefully talk more in the future sometime.
Sure. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And reach out if I can help in any way. I can reach out directly on the website. We have our contact details there.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll talk again soon.